I've spent a couple sessions over the past week or so getting more acclimated to the driving style and the cars and all that stuff. You saw race time, actual in race time, they're 55 minutes and 57 seconds, which doesn't sound a lot, but it actually kind of is. I've spent it. Actually, no, I've probably spent more than that because of if I've like restarted it or if I've been like I've kind of like been playing it kind of late, just trying to get stuff done, and I've like I'll be doing it, and I know I'm not gonna win this tournament, so I'll get into like the third race of the tournament, and I'll just shut it off without saving it. So I'll probably closer to like hour and a half ish of in race time. But anyway, we're still ranked 27, and I know I'm not gonna really get to the point where I'm dominating this game and I'm actually at rank 1 and everything, because I'm not doing great. I'm not that awesome at this. It's just not the type of racing game that I'm really good at. As you can see here, I've finished 4 events all the way through. I've got 2 golds. That's the first 2, which are like 2 races each, and then I did one. I did okay with that one with the bronze. The weird setup, I really have to say, with the sort of the way that you go through the cars and everything. And I've been told by the Nintendo Power that it is actually more complicated than you might even think it is, because you have all these teams here. There's the Speedcraft 4, Viewpoint, Reeds, Eurospec, Total Sport, and Elite. You have all 7 of these teams, and they all have the cars that you unlock as you rank up, and they invite you to come race for them, but you can't be on every team at once. You kind of have to bounce around between them and be like, yeah, I'm going to drive this car for you, and the owners have these personalities, the owners of the teams. So I drove one with these guys, with the Reeds Motorsport guys, and this dude here, he's a stickler for loyalty. If you accept an offer, be sure to stay with him until you have all his cars. Well, I didn't do very good with his first car, so I had to go back, and so the Nintendo Power is actually telling me, like, yeah, there are some people like this guy that if you bail on them, they won't have you back. And I'm like, all right, that's weird, and that's kind of difficult, because if I need the better car to win the next race, it's a weird setup, and I kind of get what they're going for. I'm not good enough at these games for me to be like, sure, I'll stick with this car. I want the best car available to me, because I needed to help make up for it. So I got a bronze in the Emperor Cup. Let's go for the Cup here again. See these 2 easy ones. There were only 2 races. I got golds in those. Alright, so let's just jump right back into it. We're still in the Rome, but the track variations are starting to come into play here with they do feel like they change up the laps a lot. Now, before we even actually start the race too, one thing I want to actually show off, because I think it's awesome and I think it looks really, really good here. I'll bet you even with Ultra HDMI it probably looks even better. But again, I don't want to do any of that. I don't have time for that. But so we're here and we're about to start the race, and so from in the race is when you have to switch to the high res mode, which does exist in this game, and I'm not going to use it all the time, mostly because I don't want to only use a small chunk of the screen. I actually have done better when I've used the full screen. But if we bump it over here to high res mode, which basically resets the whole video thing, I think this game looks excellent. If you want to show what you can accomplish, I mean, it's all relative. It really is. It's so difficult to show how good I think this is, because I've played so much N64, and I know that for the system, this looks really good. So I'm going to do the first race, or at least most of the first race, with this. And I think this looks like a decent PS2 game, a really good looking PS1 game. And you can refute that. You can say, this doesn't look that great. I get it. There's a couple jaggies here and everything. But here we've got high res mode on the game, because I have the expansion pack. We have, reminder, the Eon Super 64 adapter, and I have smoothing mode turned on, or slick mode, whatever they call it, which smooths out some of the jaggies that it displays, because that's how it displays it. You can get jagged lines, but the sort of like layer of Vaseline that kind of sits, it kind of simulated by just playing on a CRT would know that they're all jagged like that. That's just kind of like the trick. Oh, these guys are all over the track, and I would have gone right by that guy with right in front of me. That sucks. not take the lead, but move ahead in the pack, because I'm racing a little bit more careful. And I've raced on Rome a bunch of times already. Rome is like, some variant of the Rome track is the first in a lot of these races. So I do really like, oh actually I gotta bring up, it's especially a thing gonna be on the N64 all the time. And it's a huge thing nowadays if you play basically any driving game that's not like Forza. But I was trying to look up what some of these cars were, and I knew from looking it up on, I think it was just on the Game Pass message board, looking up stuff about this game. And I saw somebody say like, oh, I used to be able to, you know, name every car, or which car basically every car was. I just, like, I need the list in front of me, so they were like not listing it there, so I kept digging, because they are real cars, they're all based on real cars, but they don't have licenses, which is extremely common at this time, especially if you're not on the PlayStation. The PlayStation was more for licensed cars. They would get like one license. You'd see all those like all the games you see in the bargain bins nowadays. They're all like these licensed to one car manufacturer, or maybe a really small handful of car manufacturers, and that's where all the money went. So it's like a really shit game, but with like a licensed car. And then you had Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo had all the licenses. Nowadays we get it with Forza, but even all these new car games coming out, I think that's part. I could be wrong about this. Full of shit, but I believe that is part of why Gran Turismo pivoted and came out with Gran Turismo Sport, which, you know, if you compare that to like Forza 7 or Forza Horizon, either at this point, that's what it is. Oh fuck, this. That's gonna kill my chance. Yeah, I know I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, the physics being realistic is, yeah, kind of a half truth. I think they overcompensate on a lot of things like that. But then again, the racing games I've been playing, they have not really had this type of like supercar, because that's what all of the cars in this game are. Like, there's like Lotuses and Salines and like all that type of stuff. Like it is the sport competition type cars. And yeah, even right now I can't really remember it, but I found on the internet Game Cars database, which basically lists for you, if you can go to any games community page. It's really cool that this exists. Their community, I guess, lists every car that is in a game. If they're non-licensed in the game, but they're obviously based on real cars, people identify the cars and they tell you what they are. So like Burnout 3, for example, all very real, simulated real cars, just not with the real names and stuff, or the real logos. And everybody's gone in and been like, yeah, that's this car, that's this car, that's this car. So really cool stuff with that. And again, really helpful for this. I mean, I say helpful, it's like not that I really know one from another. I was also looking at it for GTA 5 because it happened really recently, actually. They added in some sort of not flashy looking like tuner car, just like it was like a Honda hatchback or something like that. And I remember I saw it on Instagram because it was a sponsored ad to me on Instagram, and people are going crazy over it. The people who know what that car is are all really excited about it. It's like a car you pay for like $3-4 to get it in the game. And if you don't care, then you don't care. You don't really care about it for the cars, the specific cars, or anything like that. But the people who are, you know, the Fast and Furious type of street racing people, the tuning people, all going crazy over it. It's really cool. And that's something you could like go on this IGCD and look up all the cars. So that's really cool. So the other thing about reading up on this, and you know, trying to look up, trying to get all this information that I can, and see if I can convey it while I'm playing this game, because I can't really do a great job of narrating what I'm doing here, because it's just really mediocre driving. What else am I supposed to say? I'm not great at this. But I'm trying to read the Nintendo Power, which they have track breakdowns and everything. And given what the game actually is, did a really good job. But as with any racing game, it's really, really hard for them to write a feature on it in Nintendo Power. And hard for me as, you know, the consumer to read it and kind of remember stuff about it. Last track, that spin up really, really killed me in the second lap. That I can say that right now. I probably would have finished. Top 3. So we're not off to a great start here. Again, it's one of the ones that, like, I'm just gonna keep going with it. This is a game that if I was going to finish it, I would have to really grind. The high res mode, like you notice when they're showing off the track and everything, it's all in this widescreen, and they really put a lot of work into the replay mode. And while I bust out the Nintendo Power, I'm just gonna throw the replay mode. They've got all these different angles and everything. So this being a really good looking game, I do commend them on that. It's something that, like, you're not gonna really use a lot now. You're not gonna, like, make a big deal out of right now. But on this system, this is really good. This is a really good job of trying to, I think, get a lot of the features that Gran Turismo had going for it, but just not being able to match up on content, unfortunately. But I really do commend this game. It's like F1 pole position, or F1, not pole position. Pole position's a bad one. F1 World Grand Prix. The good F1 game for the North Americans. I'm not into it. I'm even less into it than I am in this type of racing. I'm about as excited about F1 racing as I am about NASCAR or any other type of organized racing that's not even like having fancy cars like this. But when you play that game from the outside looking in, you can still tell that that's a really good job and a lot of work was put into it. And that's what I get from this game, and that's why even if there's a lot of other stuff you can play, I really do recommend this game. I think I'm very impressed with it from what I can tell. But for tracks, and especially like tracks in a game like this, it's one thing to do it in like Star Wars Racer. No, okay. I just have to hit stuff, you know, A. Hit A anytime and you can go to the next track. It's one thing in like Star Wars Racer though, where I can be like, especially if I'm having trouble with it, I can go back to it. I can do that with any of these really, if you're having trouble with the race. But if you haven't played on that track yet, if you don't know, kind of, I'm gonna go back to normal mode for this so we can get the whole screen back, and maybe this will help me a little bit. Kind of scapegoating these sort of like, yeah, but it's cutting out half my screen. It's so small. I don't think that's really playing a part, but I do prefer to look at it, especially with all the speed at the screen. It's a good reference point, but I have no confidence in my ability, or really anybody's ability, to be like, I've never played this track before, but make sure you look out for this. Make sure you use this type of technique on this part, like going into it. No, you have to play first. You can't sight read these tracks and come out on top without, you know, unless you just like have a really good, you know, driving technique in this type of game. I think this is a reverse version of this track. I think they had that probably when I started. Why am I so far behind everybody already? Like, this doesn't seem... This seems excessive for as bad as I am. Good looking track though. Look at that sun glare too. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Again, touches like that, just a really overall good job with the graphics, and doing the work to try and make this game look as best as it can with the hardware that it's on. Bravo, really good job. Even though, like, compare this Eon adapter with the slick mode to a CRT, and I don't know what you're gonna get by comparison. But I can still imagine that the high-res mode on this system 21 years ago, that probably was awesome. Some of these tracks, if they're more paved roads, or I say paved roads, but like since it's Midway, it's a Midway published game. It's still Boss Studios based on here and stuff. So we're kind of, it's Boss getting to do non-paved in the rally games. And now that I've played this, I'm actually really looking forward to Top Gear Rally 2. Just for the, yep, I tried to, God, I fucking slid so hard. I really tried. I knew this was coming up. And I'm not allowed to restart the race. I don't know if that's, it just says 0. I've used that. I guess that's cumulative for your whole career mode. It's not even like per competition. So I guess I fucked up with that. Wow, I'm terrible shape. I guess we can't really blame the high-res mode. Although I will say, I've raced on Rome plenty of times, so I knew that track a little better. This is my first time on this. I think this was Vegas. That's what it said. We got the desert, a little bit of green, city. But as I was saying, this being Midway, I'm also kind of forced to think of the other Midway published racing games. And I do get a real vibe of the Rush games. Cruising too, but yeah, Rush definitely, like the track design that they used in Rush, and then just kind of like taking out all of the shortcuts or even the long cuts, and just like, okay, make it more scenic. Cut it down to driving skill instead of knowing the tracks and taking shortcuts and shit. Just cut it down to that, and instead of all the shortcuts, make it just look more scenic. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this, and I think that's really cool. I'm actually catching up to the rear of the pack. Now that we're on the third lap. This, I was gonna say it's kind of a short track. It's about, if I hadn't fucked up twice, once on each lap before, it would be about 30 seconds probably shorter. So yeah, like a 20-25% shorter than Rome's. Did it that time. Best I'm gonna do out of this race though is gonna be 6th place if I pass the two guys here in front of me that are at the rear. So I mean, definitely, you can see that I kind of have my work cut out for me if I was thinking it all. Oh, it's probably gonna be, again, it's gonna be like 5th place, which is what I did on Rome, and that's why I'm not gonna progress, because it's very much like I think Star Wars Racer kind of had the same thing, where it's like, yeah, if you're good enough to get to this point in the pack, and then there's a group that's ahead of you right there, there's way too little light in there for you to know where that is. Then you get to this point in the pack, and you try to beat these guys, and then there's somebody who's way out in front of everybody, and if you're that good, then you'll beat that guy. And that's when you'll start to really progress. So we got 5th place on that, not great. Where the hell were we? Oh, you know what? They have a little thing. That was Hawaii. So I think that's Hawaii BR. That's backwards and reverse. I think. So, or B variant in reverse. I think that's what it is. It's either backwards reverse or B variant in reverse. I didn't need this. It's one thing to hit to as you do the qualifying thing, but it's like another thing to practice it again. That's going to take up more of my time that I don't feel like I have. It'd be nice to, you know, I probably won't do another one of these because of this. It'll be a lot of the same thing, but I'll just be worse at it. Because I'll either be on the same tracks, or I'll put so much time into it that I'll get to the harder tracks, and then I'll do just as poorly, but on harder tracks. And this is me, like, you know, out of my element for the most part. A kind of serious driving game. It's not arcadey at all. It's not ridiculously sim heavy like Gran Turismo. It doesn't have the capability of that on this system, I don't think. But it's a tough, it's a more intense driving game. And it's still, like I said, it's even different from, like, you know, Top Gear Rally, which I acclimated to. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, the full-on spin out to not hit this fucking wall that pisses me off. I know this one too. This is Kyoto. This is Kyoto. I've like already lost this race by just doing that. That sucks. Although I do usually come back when we get to that square bit with the 390-degree lefts. So maybe, I don't know. This might be okay. Okay, not great. But like I said, it's you know, out of my element. I'm really working at this, and I know it's gonna take a lot of time for me to get used to it because I don't play these games. You know, it doesn't take too very long. The next game we're gonna play will be a lot more sit back. I would say enjoy it, but I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy it. But it's a game that, like, it'd be bad from what I've heard from everybody, but that doesn't mean I'm going to, like, fail at it because I'm bad. Because it's Rugrats Scavenger, and we'll talk about it when we get there. But it'll be a game that, like, I might be like, oh god, what am I doing? But it'll be the game's fault, not mine, if what's been said about it in the past proves to be true. By a lot of other people who've played it. But we'll get there when we get there. This is, you know, I'm in 7th. I'm not lagging a mile behind everybody else. So I might do okay with this. And we're like halfway through the race too. Oh, there's the wall. I knew it was coming up. Oh, you suck. Stretch that I'm going to do okay, so hopefully that guy catch up to me and I can focus on the next group of guys who are spaced out quite a bit. Keep hitting that wall. It's not a death knell, it just kind of slows me down a bit. It slows me down going into the section that I'm actually doing okay with. I think it's just like on a 90-degree turn when I'm not going too fast, I'm actually able to hit on the correct racing line. So I've literally read like Gran Turismo manuals and they're like, yeah, you gotta follow the best racing line, which is, you know, outside to be in the turn, then to inside. Always try to do that, but I'm fucking terrible. Also, Gran Turismo has better music. The sounds of the cars actually sound way better than just the music. It kills me, actually. It kills me that we didn't get any Need for Speed. Just the sort of, like, we're gonna have music tracks, and we're gonna have. I don't know. I don't. It bugs me that there's no need for speed. EA could have thrown us a bone over here and given us one of the fucking 5 that they did on the PS1. I know that the early one was like trying to take advantage of the CD format, but the way that it grew into its own series by the end of the end of the PS1 and 64, I think they could have handled something. All we got was Hot Wheels, which is I'm not complaining with that because Hot Wheels is awesome. But we get the better Hot Wheels game than we did. Nope, I got too far. Too early. So 5th place again. I'm not great. I'm not great at this. Fifth place in all 3 races. That's a sure sign that you're well below par. Yep. Failed. I don't want to change the play. With such a fine car, first place should be down to... He's Italian, not French. I don't know. Okay, let's just save this game real quick. Cool. Glad I got this in. That'll be all for today. It'll probably be it for World Driver. I'll probably race a little bit more. But my hope for like beating this game, it's just not there. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Y'all can see from the way that I'm driving, it would take way too long to get anywhere near that level of skill at this game. So join me next time for Rugrats Scavenger Hunt. That'll be an interesting stream for a different reason, just because it'll be fun to make fun of it. If it is, in fact, the piece of shit that people say it is. With that, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.